Hello, everyone, and good morning. Thank you for attending today. So nice to be here, and I hope that your meditation practice is going well. Let's just take a few moments here and stretch our body to our left, to our right. Very important to have a centered spine, a centered body. If we do not, then our meditation is a little off. It says that actually it can ruin your meditation in the early sutras and also can cause some illness. Let's rotate our shoulders back for sure. Let's let our shoulders down. Let's rotate our head forward and backwards. And to the angle. Side, right side. Now we're going to turn. Positive. My shoulders. Release. Rolling back one more time. Well, let's prepare for our meditation. I don't know in the future if you guys would like, there are many timers that are available as apps that when you're sitting meditation, perhaps in the evening, you can use it as well. I hope that you're in growing your meditation from 15 minutes in the afternoon to perhaps 20. But these apps are very useful in that you can be able to practice without having to watch the clock, purify our bodies. Good. Let's do 3 purifying breaths, pranayama. We'll breathe in through our nose, hold for the count of 5, and exhale for 7. Let us begin. Hold and exhale. Good. Round 2. And exhale. Round 3, breathe in. Hold. And exhale. Good. Let us sit straight. Put our hands in Hokkaido in. Tuck in our head. Close our eyes. Close our teeth. And now we'll begin breathing through our mouth. Breathing through our nose. Exhaling. Shamatha. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Inhaling. Simply observing. Contemplation. The sound of the bell. Let us enter into meditation. Release your concentration. Come back to the attention of the body. Simply observe the state of your mind, your breathing, your body, without any judgment, just observation as to the different effects. It's calm, rough, smooth. Simply observe more the attributes. Is your body warm, cold, relaxed, tense, etc.? Next, start to move your fingers, your toes, bring your awareness more back to your body, turning gently over the head. Hope all of you enjoyed your meditation and that it's becoming stronger. Stronger, I mean that, for instance, using the mantra Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, that you can simply concentrate on that, because sometimes as you begin, even just simply saying the words in your mind, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, and concentrating on those is very challenging. That's the strength of the mantra. The mantra is specifically a thread to guide us, to direct us. Also, it has some power within itself to awaken, to energize certain things. To continue what we were speaking on yesterday about this idea of changing these samskara. Samskara are these imprints in our mind, and being able to, for instance, samskara are these latent or memories in our mind, the chitta, the physical mind. The mind that we use is simply a storehouse of these samskaras, and that whenever we meet something that perhaps awakens the samskara, causes and conditions, as the Buddha says, the samskaras come forward. And that is basically these imprints that we have. And then our mind, our self, mistakenly believes that this is reality, but actually it's just a simple memory, and that the mind is a storehouse of memories. And that as it comes forward, it's very important that we're able to see this for what it is, right? And then be able to, there are some techniques that we have been speaking about the last few days about changing the mindset, of changing that from a negative samskara to a positive. And it provides us with a means of performing the mindfulness meditation that is very popular in Buddhism, whereby one consciously adjusts the types of samskaras one allows in one's mind, chitta. If we consider the chitta to be essentially a warehouse of samskaras, negative thoughts are merely the activation of some of these previous samskaras or imprints lying in storage. Samskaras are never destroyed. We recall, although they can be burnt by yogic practice. So what it's saying is that these samskaras, as long as you have this body, they lie dormant. But this idea of it being burnt, and there are many different ways of schools, etc. In Buddhism, we can go beyond them. But again, it's going beyond and purifying this physical body with our mind, with our Buddha nature, etc. But in a way, this is a technique in which one can lessen the strength of these simple memories, because most people are simply living their lives based on these imprints or impressions in their minds, which basically means they're living in a memory, and that we can actually change that. In other words, thoughts of violence, dishonesty, etc. arise because the past practices of such things imprinted on one's citta. That could be from a previous life or from this life, etc. If when the practitioner becomes aware of a perverse thought arising in the mind, he or she makes a conscious effort to counter it by invoking a benevolent thought. Then a new, more sattvic or pure thought type of samskara is planted in the chitta warehouse, the mind warehouse. Now, it's very important to know that even this samskara, even if it's positive, that we're replacing, this is only temporary, because this too is part of the illusionary world. However, there is the positive and negative aspect, that even with the idea of replacing a negative desire with a positive desire in Buddhism, such as the practices that we have of loving kindness, upaya meditation, where we are changing something negative into loving meditation, in which we acknowledge the other being's Buddha nature, etc. So therefore, we're changing that to a more sattvic or pure intention. However, later in practice, that will have to be let go as well, because those are all still part of this um, world of samsara, still, as they use prakriti or matter. Okay. For example, if you have an aspiring practitioner experiences feelings of dislike for a person, which is a type of himsa, as we talked about yesterday. Himsa means violence. Ahimsa means non-violence. If you add in Sanskrit the a, it becomes a negative in most situations, resulting from ignorance. Now, again, everything is resulting from this ignorance that we have and that we base our awareness on. Okay? From ignorance, ignoring the true self of the person. That means ignoring their Buddha nature. Then, upon becoming aware of this feeling, the practitioner can make the effort to think that the person is of the person in a non-violent fashion, perhaps viewing him as her as simply an embodiment being victimized by the gunas and karma, etc. That's a way of understanding through one's own practice that if we live this ignorant life, we are again being in a way tormented and abused by these karmas. And when they say gunas, that means the uh, imprints of the mind, the kind of desire, the natures of desire, greed, hatred, ignorance, etc. That ultimately the pure mind, Buddha nature, we can see that in them. So therefore we replace that with, okay, they're, instead of having a violence action, and again, the mind, simply having a mind of hate or dislike causes this, is considered violence in many of the Sharama traditions, you know. So even a thought is considered violence. And again, as we know through Buddhism, karma is created through conscious mind. So therefore, when we make a thought, that is the beginning of karma. And then, of course, if we act it out, it becomes a thicker or heavier karma. Okay. So one might additionally consider how the world might be a better place to live if people could go beyond superficial impressions and view others and fellow spiritual beings and so forth as Buddhas, a practice that has been referred to as a sort of putting yourself in other people's shoes. The practitioner might also ponder the negative consequences of perverse thinking as outlined. So a lot of people don't even know that these sutras that we have, the main purpose was to Jainism and the Vedism and the Purana, and that these stories and sutras were meant to, even ideas of the universe itself, such as Mount Meru with heavens and hells, was to compel people to aspire. Hence, the most important thing we have in Buddhism is the aspiration of bodhicitta, that one, through seeing the possibilities of these rebirths or even these states of mind in one's life, we are to become motivated to practice ahimsa, nonviolence, and practice and cultivate ourselves. The more one practices this type of positive or pure sattvic thinking, in opposition to the rajistic and tamasic. Rajistic means the desireful, where one desires themselves over others, and tamasic is kind of this very thick, kind of ignorant idea, thoughts that underpin our inclinations towards violence, untruthfulness, and other qualities opposite to the yamas and niyamas. So against these moral principles and practices that we're doing, if we don't have these, if we don't observe the precepts or know them or practice them, it's very hard to build a strong meditative practice, okay? And to be able to understand dhyana, a deep concentration and enter samadhi. So as we can see, every instance that we have is either contributing or detracting from our practice. So that is why in this practice of awareness or mindfulness, we need to know our actions. And then therefore there are many, for beginner practitioners, many simple ways, such as loving kindness meditation, to counteract these thoughts as you go on through your day, okay? And again, we're building. Don't be discouraged if you have lots of these thoughts and that they're starting to come out because of your practice, because in actuality, the storehouse may not have been open, and these deep-seated thoughts, even in your conscious or subconscious, are there and being brought forth. But however, I've told people, and this is what the Lotus Sutra teaches us, that this mud comes forth with the energy, the opportunity, that when we practice and study, these opportunities come forth for us to correct these actions, to correct our mind, to engage more in the sattvic or very light or pure aspect of thought and practice. Okay, we can immediately counteract them while we're working on our deep concentration. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Nam myo renge kyo.